What's up, everybody? Yes, welcome to The Walking Talking Dead. I am not Eric Goldman. This is not Matt Fowler. They do the TV episodes. We are Greg Miller, Mitch Dyer. We're going to talk to you about Telltale Games, The Walking Dead. Episode 1, A New Day. Mitch, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up, man.
Why?
It might be Telltale's best game.
Right? Yeah, totally. It's been one of those things. I think Jurassic Park was like, not that good. And Back to the Future was a mixed bag. I enjoyed the beginning, hated the ending.
Right.
But no, totally. Episode 1, A New Day here. Great system for going through, looking through. Great characters, great voices. I loved it.
Yeah, like totally an excellent adventure game in addition to being like a really awesome Walking Dead story.
Right.
Totally true to the universe.
And that was the thing we were all worried about coming into it, right? Is that The Walking Dead is so character driven. It's such this, touching tale in comics and now TV. Would they be able to do this? I love Lee. I love Lee Everett, and I also love Clementine.
Yeah,
so
I love
getting to know these characters.
The whole cast is great.
Yeah.
Like all of the side characters, the secondary characters who you meet or don't meet, depending on how you play, like it's awesome. They're all really fleshed out and they develop really interesting relationships with Lee based on what they do or don't know about him or what he tells them or doesn't.
So now when you're playing, who is your Lee? Talk to me about what your choice, because obviously you have this conversation wheel, but it's not like some conversations before in Telltale games where you can make every choice.
Right.
You get a set amount of time, make your choice, and that starts defining who your Lee is.
So my Lee ended up being like a really, really honest guy. I never lied to anybody, unless the game forced me.
Yeah.
Like toward the end where you don't tell anyone it's your parents' store.
Yeah.
But everywhere else along the way, I was totally honest with everyone, including Herschel at the farm. Like I told him like I was in a police car at the beginning. Like,
me too.
That's where I was when this all started happening. So my Lee Everett was a very open, honest guy.
Yeah, mine too, and I think that was, what was so hard when I went through my second play, because you get 3 save slots. My second playthrough, I wanted to start a new save, and I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to be silent, I wanted to sit there and not answer people, I wanted to be mean, and I was, and it felt so disingenuous. It broke my heart. Like, you're walking around with Clementine, this first grader, and like in my first playthrough, she's like, did you kill it? And I'm like, yes, it's dead, honey, don't worry. And the next one's like, I don't know, and she gets all sad, and it says that she noticed you didn't comfort her, and it's like, it breaks my heart. Like, I love these characters already, and I'm only 2 hours in.
Yeah, and the way they notice stuff is really interesting to me, because you'll say something and someone will pick up on, like, they notice the way you explain the situation, or, they'll remember that. Like, at the beginning, the funniest thing in the entire game is when you kill that first zombie with a hammer, Clementine will remember that. No you just beat a zombie to death in front of her with a hammer.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't gone back and I want to screw around with that one more, because there is that. There's an interact on the zombie's head before I get the hammer. I want to see if I can just kick it away, if we can get away, how did it all work
maybe
out
just
stuff.
Get out the door.
Yeah, but I mean that's the most interesting thing I think so far about The Walking Dead is choices. It's all about your choices, right? Yeah. Like right now we only know them in this microcosm of episode 1, but it's talking about how Herschel remembers and how Clementine remembers and how all this down the line is going to affect your relationships with Kenny and Larry and everybody else and what they think of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What was your relationship with Kenny like by the end?
My first playthrough, I was totally down with Kenny. I wanted to protect Kenny. I was like, yeah, all right, Kenny, we're going to go through
loyal.
this. I'm not going to throw Duck out. Larry's obviously an asshole. I don't care. You know what I mean? Whatever. But then again, I went back on that second playthrough and I was a dick and I felt so bad betraying Kenny. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In the first playthrough, I didn't even know if I really cared that much about Kenny. But coming back and I'm like, throw the kid out. Larry's right. I'm like, I'm siding with this jerk. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? And that's what's so cool about this game. And what really is mind-boggling about looking at it when we're going to have all 5 episodes, right? Is that you're going to be able to go make all these choices and see how they span out.
Right, like all these diverging paths based on very specific instances in each episode.
Yeah.
And at the end, you get to see like the varying percentages of who's decided what. So you get to see like which choices carry over the most.
Yeah.
But there are all these like really very specific things, like people remembering things, and they come up later or they don't, and maybe they'll come up in a future episode. So I suspect we'll see Herschel again.
Oh yeah, I hope we do. You know what I mean? And we said goodbye to Glenn, and that was a really interesting thing for me too. Because on my first playthrough, we get to that awesome scene at the hotel, right? And Glenn first off has that amazing line of when the girl comes out and she's bitten, and she mentions she's bitten.
Boyfriend.
She's about to die, and she wants a gun to kill herself. And Glenn's like, "You have a boyfriend?"
He's still sad. Yeah,
so
he's still
awesome
desperate.
because that's so Glenn. You know what I mean? From the guy we know from the comics, from freaking like 15 trade paperbacks of what Walking Dead is so far, almost 100 issues now. But to have like in my original playthrough, I was like, no, give her the gun. Let her kill herself, no big deal. And then I went back and played again, and I'm like, don't give her the gun, don't do this.
And she tackles you off the hotel. It's
exactly.
crazy.
That's what's so interesting about it, is that so many games give you choice, right? But like Paragon Renegade, and it's always one of these little, how much can they change and keep the narrative the same?
Right.
And this was the same. I was expecting her to still get the gun and kill herself, but I wasn't expecting her to tumble us off and us crash on the ground, and then like, it gives a whole new meaning when Glenn at the end of the game says, I'm gonna go on my way, and he looks up at the destroyed
It's all messed up.
He looks up at the destroyed balcony and then looks down all depressed, and it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this decision that meant one thing, 4 hours ago means a completely different thing now. It's like, wow,
And it may
that's
not,
awesome.
like, that may not mean anything in the scope of the game, or it may not affect gameplay, but it's like that just goes to show like how connected we are to these characters,
Right.
and how great Telltale is at making believable characters that we really care about.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about Clementine completely. Like, she's one of the most likable characters in any game I've played, and I actively want to protect her all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love talking to her. Like, she and Lee have this really amazing conversation toward the end about dads. And just how cool dads are. Like, Lee pulls out his dad's cane and they talk about how cool he was.
Yeah.
She talks about her hat and getting it from her dad. And it's just this really cute, really short conversation, but it's so human. And it's a genuine conversation. It's not a video game make a choice conversation. It's
Totally.
just people talking.
So what didn't you like about the game?
I'm kind of hard pressed to find anything major, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of specific things. Like, a lot of the time I didn't really know where to go. I couldn't find a battery. Very specific things, very adventure game things.
The
right?
whole battery thing is one of the few moments where I was totally broken out of the narrative of A New Day, right? Of that there's this reporter who can handle a gun and is
Yeah.
awesome. First off, she picks up a radio and is like, oh, I can't tell there's no batteries in this. And then I give her batteries and she just shoves them in like,
backwards.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Come on.
Come on
She
now.
seems like she's got her stuff together.
Yeah. And there was little things like in the second playthrough when I sided with Larry, I went back to have that conversation with Kenny, expecting him to be pissed. But I went up to him and I gave him a candy bar. And I'm like, this is for your boy. And Kenny's like, thanks, he's really gonna want this, Lee. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then I went to the real conversation and he's like, you, Lee. I'm like, oh, no. Like,
Thanks for the
okay.
candy bar.
I don't think Telltale expected me to give the candy bar before
Right.
I talked to him.
Yeah.
But little adventure game stuff like that.
Yeah.
Coolest death, what was it?
Oh man, come back to me.
Okay, for me, it was the one, like I made the choice on my second playthrough, the first time of course, I saved the reporter. What's her name again?
Carly.
Carly, thank you so much. I was gonna say Clemmy, but that's not
Nope, that's not
Carly,
the word.
that's not right at all. I saved Carly, and then on the second playthrough, I saved the other guy, Dougie. And when Carly gets killed, it is brutal. Like
It's really messed up.
She gets yanked, and then like the zombie grabs her hair and brings her down, and another zombie chomps on her neck.
On the way down.
I know. You're like,
It's brutal.
Damn, no, like, good job, Telltale. Good job keeping the gore up.
Yeah, I think the death with the brother was probably
Right.
the most uncomfortable I've been playing a
Yeah.
game in some time.
Yeah, I mean, you walk up and like he's like, hey bud, this is gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Again,
and,
a genuine human
I know,
conversation.
and it's like totally and then ruined by Doug. Hey
man,
why
hurry
are you
up.
yelling? There's zombies across the
Yeah.
street, Doug. Shut up. But yeah, then
Doug.
but then you hack him in the neck like 3 or 4
Yeah,
times. Like,
and you
yeah.
think like he stops moving,
Yeah.
but he starts to crawl up again, and you have
Yeah.
to do that last one where you
Yeah.
hit him square in the top of the head, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
It made me really sad.
Of course. Well, Walking Dead Episode 1, A New Day is out. What do you think of it? Leave your comments here in the comment section below, and then keep checking IGN for everything about The Walking Dead, zombies, video games, movies, whatever the hell else they do with this franchise. We'll be talking about it. And look for another Walking Talking Dead when the next episode comes out.